Love is undoubtedly in the air on The Bachelorette. Star Michelle Young has now dropped the L-bomb on all three of her remaining contestants. But still, one had to be sent home after Fantasy Suites. Tuesday's episode is set in Mexico, the franchise's first trip abroad since the pandemic began, and gave finalists Brandon, Joe and Nate the opportunity to have one-on-one time with Michelle overnight, away from the reality show's cameras and producers. "I've now fallen in love with all three men here, which is something I didn't think was possible," Michelle says. "And now, I have to break someone's heart. There's all these complicated feelings and knowing how much that's going to hurt them because he's someone who continues to put me first. And I still have to send him home, because I know that it's the right thing to do." Last week's Men Tell All episode, Bachelorette Tayshia Adams confirms Zach Clark split. "You're not wearing your engagement ring going into her 3 dates this week." Michelle knows Brandon wears his heart on his sleeve and that Joe has said he's falling in love with her. Nate is the wild card. He hasn't verbally expressed love for her yet and Michelle is worried he won't be ready to get engaged soon. Her dates with Brandon and Joe go about as expected. Both are steady presences and Michelle tells both of them she loves them. It's usually a no in the Bachelor franchise for a lead to express love with more than one contestant remaining, so Michelle's choice to do so is big. Meanwhile, interactions between Brandon, Joe and Nate are getting exceedingly awkward. Joe calls it a gut punch to sit next to Brandon the morning after his date with Michelle. And none of the contestants can seem to look each other in the eyes anymore. Previously, The Bachelorette star Michelle gets Joe to open up about mental health struggles. Michelle's final date of the week is with Nate, whom she says she's crazy about. "When I'm with Nate, I feel how you're supposed to feel when you're with your soulmate, your favorite person," Michelle says. But can Nate's mutual craze for Michelle actually translate into a forever relationship? The Bachelorette tells him that falling in love is one thing, being in love is one thing, and being engaged is another thing, and wants to know which one he feels. "All three," Nate replies. "Falling in love, being in love, loving you. There's something about you that I'm certain about. I know I trust myself, I trust you and I trust that I'm literally falling in love with you." Michelle concludes a huge weight has been lifted off her heart after hearing Nate confirm he could get engaged, and says she's in love with him, too. Now comes the tough part, deciding which man won't make it to the finale and have the opportunity to propose. More The Bachelorette star Michelle opens up about being called a racial slur. Michelle arrives at the rose ceremony and begins preparing the men for an emotional evening. Then Brandon steps forward, asking if the two can talk before she begins. Nate dubs the move a Hail Mary that signals Brandon's desperation. Brandon tells a teary Michelle that he knows this ceremony will be one of her most difficult choices and that even if he's the one who's sent home, he wants her to follow her heart. "Today might be my last day, but I just wanted to look you in the eye and make sure that the woman I love more than anything is okay," Brandon says. But Brandon was wrong. He and Nate get roses, signaling the end of Michelle's relationship with Joe. "I'm still falling in love with you," she tells Joe outside the ceremony. "I know how much you pushed yourself to open up and I care about you so much. You have a piece of my heart. I think you always will. I'm sorry, I didn't want to break your heart." A stunned Joe gives a diplomatic reply. He's thankful for his time with Michelle and wants nothing but the best for her. "I didn't see that coming," he says later. "I really thought she was my person. So I'm wondering what Brandon said. I have no idea. I just want to go home." Michelle's season of The Bachelorette concludes next Tuesday with a 3-hour finale. The next season of The Bachelor starring Clayton Echard begins Jan. 3. Previously, The Bachelorette star Michelle makes franchise history with her final 4 men.